I turned myself in on my own accord to try to get this taken care of. So I'm just hoping to see if I can get a bond today, so I can be home for Christmas. I paid the bondsman $500 to get me to court. When I called the bondsman tells me he's out of town.
I don't understand why you're telling me that it's up to your bondsman to get you to court. That
So
looks
I'm going to
like
be sitting
where it
here
is.
till January 3rd.
What?
I'm going to be sitting here till January 3rd after I've been sitting in jail 10 days.
Today's hearing comes down to one question. Does this defendant get to spend Christmas at home, or does he stay behind bars? He's in custody for a theft case that dates back 4 years. Although he voluntarily turned himself in about 10 days before this hearing, there's one major problem. He previously failed to appear in court. Because of that missed court date, his bond was denied. As the hearing unfolds, both sides make their arguments, and you can feel how much is riding on the judge's decision. Should the court give him another chance, or has he already lost that opportunity? Watch closely, and let me know what you think before we get to the ruling.
How you doing today?
Fine. Are you Mr. Kelly?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm Judge Sanders. We're just having a docket call today. That's the purpose of this. And what it is, Mr. Kelly, is that's a 2020 case that you had. And apparently, the state is requesting that your probation on that case be revoked and that you.
Yes, sir. So, I bonded out on that case, correct? And I paid the bondsman $500 to get me to court. When I called the bondsman tells me he's out of town. So I called Judge Sanderfield's office 3 times. Then I called the court clerk 3 times, and I called the district attorney's office and try to get a Zoom link. They told me they couldn't give me a Zoom link on the case. So I called back my bondsman. He says, well, what you need to do is start walking. So I called my attorney, Watts, at the time, and he said there was nothing he could do for me. So 10 days ago, I just got a new job working at Kohl's, making $27 an hour. 10 days ago, on Friday the 13th, I go turn myself in to Sedgwick County to get this taken care of. And then, I guess they finally just get a hold of you guys a couple of days ago on the 20th and said that I was ready to be picked up. But I turned myself in. I did everything I was supposed to do to try to get to court on back in July. I called everybody I could, tried the judge, everybody, so my bond wouldn't get revoked. And then, I turned myself in on my own accord to try to get this taken care of. So I'm just hoping to see if I can get a bond today, so I can be home for Christmas. I did do my part of turning myself in and did everything I could back in July to get here. And I just want to get this taken care of. It's a 4-year-old case, sir. And like I said, I just got a $27 an hour paying job, and I just would like to get it taken care of.
It looks like back in June, your judge revoked your bond. You failed to appear.
Yes.
The court issued a bench warrant and a no bond hold.
Yes, sir. I understand that because I didn't show up in court, but it wasn't my fault. I paid the bondsman $500 to get me here, and he couldn't get me here. It was his duty to get me here when I paid him $500. I bonded out and gave him $500 to make sure I got here. And then when he told me he couldn't get me here, I called everybody I could, the judge's chambers. I called the district attorney. I called everybody I could, and it was all documented. I even called Mr. Watts, my lawyer at the time, and no one could help me out. But now that I got this new paying job, I turned myself in on my own accord. I figured I should at least be able to get a bond so I can I'm trying to do what's right here, by turning myself in and getting this taken care of. And
This is where the hearing takes an interesting turn. The defendant argues that he missed court because he believed his bondsman would make sure he appeared. The judge listens carefully, but that explanation raises obvious questions. A bondsman can help secure someone's release, but defendants are ultimately responsible for knowing their court dates and appearing when ordered. Missing court can lead to serious consequences, including the loss of bond privileges. Rather than accepting full responsibility, the defendant continues explaining why he believes someone else shares the blame. At this point, the judge isn't just deciding whether to release him. He's also deciding whether the defendant has shown that he can be trusted to follow court orders moving forward. What do you think? Does his explanation make sense, or should the responsibility rest entirely with him?
I don't understand why you're telling me that it's up to your bondsman to get you to court.
Well, I paid him $500 to make sure I got here.
How much was your bond?
$5,000.
Well, that's just the bondsman's fees for putting the money up for you. That's not the.
I figure that's the
That's not to pick you up and haul you to court.
Ain't it their job to make sure I get to court though?
No, not unless you got some special arrangement with him, and that's nothing that the court has to do. And that's just his fee to make a bond for you, so that you don't have to put up any money. Well, all right. In any event, Judge Satterfield has set that as a no bond hold. She wants to see you before she'd even consider bond, and I'm not going to do a sideways appeal on this and overrule her. So
I can't get no bond?
Nope, no bond. Now, what they have done is give you a special setting, expedited hearing on your case. And this is for bond revocation. And it's at 1:30 on January the 3rd. And that's to be in person.
And Your Honor?
And no bond until that time. Yes, Mr. Regier.
Based off of the state's information, that is a 1 o'clock setting, but I believe it is an in-person setting on January 3rd.
I thought I said that. Maybe I didn't. Yeah, it's in person, right?
That is the state's understanding, Your Honor.
Yes, I understand that too. So, that looks like where it is.
January 3rd.
What?
I'm going to be sitting here till January 3rd after I've been sitting in jail 10 days.
Yes. Well, then I suggest that you do. I take it that you don't have money for a lawyer, and Mr. Watts had previously represented you. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What you might do, because I'm at this point, I'm going to go ahead and reappoint him for you, is you might get a hold of him and see.
Ain't no way of getting a hold of him. I've been trying to get a hold of him for a week.
You have his number?
Yeah, I got his number. My wife got his number. My mom got his number. We all been trying to get a hold of him for a week. I've been sitting in Sedgwick County Jail for a week.
Well, I'd suggest that maybe you try to give him a call this afternoon. If in any event,
how's that gonna help me any?
Well, he could maybe file an emergency motion with Judge Satterfield, because I'm not going to overrule another judge here on that.
All right, so I guess we done here then.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. You're excused.
Your Honor, could you repeat the time for the January 3rd date, please?
It's January the 3rd at 1 p.m. and she wants that in person. So I take it that means he needs to be at the courthouse in court.
In the end, the judge decides to keep the defendant in custody. It's certainly a difficult outcome, especially with Christmas approaching, but the court's primary concern is whether a defendant will return for future hearings. Failing to appear is one of the most significant factors judges consider when making bond decisions because it directly affects confidence that court orders will be followed. The defendant also discussed his employment and personal circumstances, hoping they would support his request for release. Ultimately, though, the judge determined that the missed court appearance carried more weight than those arguments. Whether people agree with the ruling or not, this hearing is a reminder that appearing in court isn't optional. It's one of the most important conditions of being released on bond. Now it's your turn. Do you think the judge made the right decision by denying bond, or should the defendant have been given another chance? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this courtroom breakdown, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications for more real courtroom moments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.